Huh. So if Red Rising is done rising, does that mean that red rose? Let's not get too much into the semantics. Anyways, have you seen this game around? Maybe you've seen it at Target or your friendly local game store and you've been wondering what it's all about. Well, I do love a good red, so if you want to hear my tasting notes on this awesome new game, then might I suggest... Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. Today we're going to be talking about none other than Red Rising, a new game from Stonemaier Games based off of the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. First things first though, I want to give a quick shout out to Stonemaier Games for sending me this awesome review copy. I've really been enjoying this game lately, so I wanted to take some time to give you all my in-depth tasting notes on it. I've also heard that my in-depth tasting notes taste that much better when you're a subscriber, so why not take a second to hit subscribe and that little bell button so you can get notified when I post new content. And of course, if you have any suggestions of your own, don't forget to drop them below in the comments. Okay, that's it for my spiel. Now let's get back into it. In this game, you'll be trying to create the most powerful combinations of characters from the books, each with their own abilities based on their social hierarchy status. So, will you collect golds from the ruling class and reign supreme? Or will you use the low colors to band together and overthrow their rich oppressors? No matter how you slice it, there's so many different ways to win this game, so let's just jump right in. Will Red Rising be the perfect game for you? Let's find out, shall we? One of the first things that drew me to Red Rising was this really colorful box art. It's definitely one of the most colorful boxes I own. Now, the colors of the rainbow aren't there just to look pretty either. They represent the different factions and hierarchies in the Red Rising universe that you'll encounter on the cards throughout the game. Red Rising also has a really great shelf presence, and it always stands out when I'm trying to pick what to play for game night. Now let's see what's inside the box. After you're done admiring the box art and you had some time to take off the shrink wrap, the first thing you'll find in the box is your standard rulebook. As you can see, the rulebook is actually particularly thin, which can tell you a lot about how simple Red Rising actually is. You've also got a small, separate rulebook for the solo rules. Next up are the house tiles. You're going to get dealt one of these at the beginning of the game that will determine your unique player power. Anytime you activate that power, you'll be able to take the action that's stated on your house tile. Next up is the main board, and even though it looks pretty colorful and looks like there's a lot going on, it's actually pretty simple. During the game, you'll be placing cards on Jupiter, Mars, Luna, or the Institute, and you'll get the corresponding bonus like gaining influence, moving up on the fleet track, or gaining helium. The game also has some pretty nice components like this wolf-shaped container that houses these nice little helium gems which you can collect for points throughout the game. Next up is the Rising die, which you'll roll at various points throughout the game to try to press your luck and maybe gain a few bonuses. Now we've got some decks of cards, and this one specifically for the solo mode. The rest of these bad boys make up a huge deck of 112 unique character cards, each with their own awesome art and special abilities that are all based on their real characters from the actual books. Because there's so much content, you can see why you'll need more than just one play to scratch the surface of this game. In the last deck, you've got some stragglers from the solo deck, a few player reference cards, and even more of these super detailed and super well thought out character cards. Next up is the classic scoring pad, which lays everything out in a pretty straightforward way. And last but not least, you have the player components, which include some influence cubes and a fleet tracker of your chosen color. You've also got the starting player token and the sovereign token, which will give you points at the end of the game. Anyways, that's pretty much everything that's in a standard box of Red Rising, so let's jump into a quick gameplay overview. Red Rising is a hand management, point maximizing game for 1 to 6 players from Stonemaier Games. It usually plays in about 45 to 60 minutes depending on the player count, and the game gets significantly faster the more times you play it. The game itself is pretty simple. At the beginning of the game, each player will start with a hand of 5 character cards. Each character card has 2 things to pay attention to: the deploy bonus that will activate when you play it, and the endgame bonus which will only activate at, you guessed it, the end of the game. On your turn, you'll either play a card or draw a card from the top of the deck, and place it on one of the 4 board locations. If you play a card from your hand, you'll get the deploy bonus for that card, and then you'll draw the top card from any location or the top of the deck and gain the corresponding location benefit. Now, if you just rip a card hot off the top of the deck and play it, you won't gain the deploy bonus, but you'll still get to take the benefit of the location that you played on. And that's pretty much it. You'll keep playing cards and adjusting your hand until either all 3 victory conditions are met or until one player meets 2 of them. Be careful, cause it kinda sneaks up on you. Then you'll count up your endgame scoring objectives and any other victory victory points you acquired, and whoever has the most points wins. Now, there are a few more details that you learn when you play the game for the first time, but I'm not Rodney from Watch It Play, so that's not my job. But you should at least have a gist of the game now, so let's jump into my final thoughts. Here's what I really like about Red Rising. First off, I love how accessible it is. The gameplay is super easy to pick up, so new players can join easily and experienced players can jump right in. I also really love the replayability of this game. Even with the max player count, it's very unlikely that you'll see every card in the deck, and because every single card has such different powers, you'll find that each game has a totally different feel to it. I love the puzzle of trying to discover new and powerful combos, and Red Rising definitely scratches that itch.
Oh, yeah, right there.
I also love how this game can shift from very strategic to very tactical depending on the player count. With 2 players, you can try to plan a few turns ahead to figure out how to get the perfect card from a certain planet, but with 4 or more, so much changes in between each turn that it then becomes a game of evaluating what's the best thing to do when your turn comes up. I enjoy both styles of play, so the versatility of Red Rising is a big plus in my book. Speaking of books though, I've heard that one of the general gripes about this game is that even though the characters in the book series are well represented in this game, the stories and the themes from the books are not. I'm usually a big theme guy for board games, and it does sometimes feel like this game is missing a little bit of that story element, but I don't think it affects me as much as someone who is really into the Pierce Brown series. This is something to maybe keep in mind if you're planning to buy this for someone who's a big fan of the books. But with that being said, Red Rising is still a really fun game, regardless of the theme. The possibilities and the combos are endless, and every game presents new challenges and new strategies to uncover. It's definitely one of those games that has the potential to really grow on you, and I will say that every time that I've played it, I've enjoyed it more and more. So if you're looking for a colorful and strategic game that you can buy at Target, you can get started on in 15 minutes, and that might make you want to overthrow the patriarchy, then might I suggest Red Rising. Thanks so much for sticking around for my in-depth tasting notes on Red Rising. Once again, I want to give a big shout out to Stonemaier Games for sending me this awesome review copy. They're one of my favorite publishers, and it's really a dream come true to be able to review games for them. Anyways, if you have any more ideas on which games I should review next, drop them below in the comments. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all come up with. And of course, thanks so much to everyone who supported me so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep growing this channel and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.